Peace. Think fast. To the parents, stop finessing your children. I just came across a situation that really made me aware of it again. Like I'm always when I see this situation happen, I'm like, parents got to stop doing that. But what I mean by finessing your kids is like you give them the illusion of having a choice of like, hey, do you want to go here or do you want to go there? Like you give them that choice, but then you finessing it because you're saying like you have a certain vibration or energy underneath. You have a certain vibration or energy underneath asking that question that kind of sways the answer. Like, would you like this cool thing over here that's so beautiful and and cool and this and that, or do you want this so ugly, this, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, you're not really giving them a choice. You kind of still trying to like, hey, over here, I kind of want you to go over here, so I'm gonna make this side of things look all peachy and fine, compared to this side where there's not all that and this and that. It's like that's not really giving your kid a choice in essence. I think to the Cat Williams skit or the Cat Williams stand-up joke where he's talking about taking this kid go shopping for shoes, and he was like, you can have these Michael Jordans, they're pretty cool, this and that, you know what I'm saying? Kind of gave it a little subtle approach, these Michael Jordans, they're pretty cool, they expensive now, you know what I'm saying, but they're pretty cool. Or you could have these Ninja Turtles, they got the strap on them, they got the Ninja Turtles, you could fight crying, you know what I'm saying, where it's presenting the other shoe like with all the glam and glitter, you know what I'm saying, and then it's like because he didn't feel like paying for the Jordans for his kid, he like made them seem like, well, they alright, they nice, instead of just being neutral on the way that information is being presented. But I bring this up too because of the importance of raising your kids too with just with that free will of letting them be themselves. A lot of times parents do that little finessing of of presenting things to children, and they don't really realize that they still not letting the kid be. It's almost like if I told my kid, now, hey, you could either be in this free world universe, or I should say you could be in this in a spirituality that allows for you to live free and do what you want, this and that, or you could be in the Catholic religion or this and that, in which, of course, from the position of seeing that the Catholic religion is not really healthy for a person spiritually, of course you wouldn't want your kid to go in that pathway, but at the same time you should still present it in a neutral way and let them decide. That's their choice to make, not yours. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, that's the message of this video. Is like, let the kids have a choice. They just basically grown ass souls in a small body. You know what I'm saying? So stop treating them like they are, your little property. You know what I'm saying? Let them have that true free will of choice. Because that's definitely like, what made me think to it too. I saw a situation where a parent was like, it's hot outside right now, and instead of like, just asking the kid, hey, do you want to eat inside or outside? Instead of just doing like that and letting the kid just say, inside or outside, it's like, hey, it's pretty hot out here, don't you think it's hot too? It's like, and two, you're not realizing like you raise your kids to listen to you in a type of manner where they kind of feel like they gotta go along with what you're saying. So not only that, but then again, you're just throwing out persuasive words, so they're gonna kind of go with wherever you persuade them to go, and they're not really making a choice of what they really feel they want to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like Jen's like, yeah, it's pretty hot outside. Don't you think it's hot too? And almost had to ask her again to forcefully kind of get that answer that she wanted out of the kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, don't you think it's hot? It's like, no, don't you as the parent think it's hot? Look, the kid never said anything about that or whatever. And if they got the comprehension to say, yeah, it's hot, after you ask them, I'm pretty sure they got enough of comprehension to speak out and say, hey, mommy or dad, it's too hot out here. I'd rather go inside, But I know I barely touch on these bases of dealing with, the kids and raising, because for one, I mostly come from a perspective of looking at the way I was raised and things that would have helped me better understand. And then just the common knowledge of, the way we do things on a learning scale, just knowing how, the young mind soaks in things, different things of that nature. But I'm never really speaking from experience because, I don't have any kids at the moment, So that's why there's only a few places I find that I could bring up information and not, say for instance, I don't have to have kids to see how, finessing your kids on certain decisions is something that you shouldn't do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to have a kid to know about that and share that bit of information, But definitely got to start letting the kids have their free will. And again, it's a balance because it is say for instance, you got this stuff about spirituality. It's basically like, well, just live your life. So say for instance, you're not necessarily persuading your kids to eat healthy or be spiritual in the manner that you are, as much as you are just living, how you live. And then you kind of like, oh, you could be like mommy and daddy if you want to. It's up to you, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to. It's kind of like letting them get that choice, Now, of course, to a certain extent, they have no choice as far as like I'm eating watermelons and vegetables, I'm not eating meat. Then they, indirectly they have to eat the same thing too, because that's what I'm eating. But then again, on a soulful scale though too, you gotta think about it like, we choose our parents, so our kids chose chose to come to whatever family they chose to come to, so they knew what they was getting themselves into beforehand anyway, you know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, I don't know if I did a video on that about how, your kids in essence could be like the guardian angel. Not say guardian angel, but it's like the spirit guide or just say spirit guide that basically help you and your spouse connect to reproduce, to make that kid. So basically, like say for instance, my kid in the astral plane, like trying to make things meet up to where me and whatever female that I'm gonna have my first kid with, or have, again, the soul that's gonna come down into my kid's body, it's still in the astral planes, but it's playing matchmaker right now. I'm trying to make sure I end up in the right place to make that happen, you know what I'm saying? So you could also see the kids before they're in the physical as a guide that guides you to your spouse, to the person that you're gonna reproduce with and have children. So that's another cooler aspect. I thought more so just kind of like a little download I caught about the situation, because I was gonna do a video about it, but I don't think I did. I don't recall doing it, but just on the fact of how, like, the kid, the soul, before it drops down into the body, it's playing matchmaker. Like, say for instance, my soul is like making sure my mom and dad, would meet up in a certain place, or just make sure they meet each other in general. So I would help influence those situations so they could come together. And I feel like as I'm saying this, I catch the read that, it may not be all of us that have a hand in, playing matchmaker for our quote unquote parents, before we get down here. but it is done on certain levels, and it is it's something that is done on that level. I'm sorry. I be getting information as I'm talking and just trying to make sure I'm saying things right at the same time. Excuse me, but that's basically it, y'all. Just stop finessing the kids and let them have true, a true, as much as free will as possible. Because again, most of us have a certain extent of free will in the physical form. Our free will really comes from before we got into the physical, like where we had the free will of like, all right, I'm gonna be a soul that's gonna go into the family. I'm gonna go to Barbara and Carl Haynes, and and I'm gonna be raised by people that own a funeral home, and I'm gonna set up this contrast so it can make me go this way, and I'm gonna set up this contrast over here so it can make me go this way. That's the free will. That's more of the free will that we have as souls. Is more so before we get into this physical plane. You know what I'm saying? And it's more of being in the astral planes where we have that, more of that choice. But again, just stop finessing the kids. Like persuading them, to make these decisions that you want them to make. Just be aware of when when you're asking your kids certain questions. Be aware of yourself in the essence of be aware that is it me trying to persuade my kids to do a certain thing, or am I just really truthfully asking them, straight up what they want to do? But just be aware of the little finesse in you, and again, nothing's wrong with the situation of it in the essence of that. None of us have the guide to be the perfect parent. There's no manual of how to be the perfect parent. So you're gonna do some of these things, and we were taught these things by our parents in essence, or by society. So that's why we operate like that. You know what I'm saying? So once you know better, do better. Because it's not the children didn't come down here to do what we want them to do or what we want to persuade them to do. They came down here to take care of the sole purpose that they signed up for. Now, of course, they signed up to be, your kid in essence, but it's like you trying to forcefully teach something to them. That's the contrast that's gonna make them go somewhere else, but that's not what you're supposed to be doing in essence. Like when I think about, I picked my parents, and one of the things that what was contrast for me was my mom always like, oh, you should cut your hair and you should comply to all these racist constructs, basically. And being in Louisiana, like, oh, cut your hair, or you shouldn't get tattoos and this and that, because nobody's gonna, and that was the contrast that I set in place for myself to be like, all right, nah, like almost to spark that rebel in me, like, what I'm saying, like, nah, I'm gonna grow my hair, like, and this stuff ain't right, like, I'm smart regardless, like, no matter if I have tattoos or if a person thinks because I have long hair I'm a thug or whatever, then they just ignorant, what I'm saying? I'm gonna be who I am, So like that was the contrast that was put in place for me to go that other way. I always tell people reason to a certain extent that's why I got dreads and been having my hair for over 18 years. Hadn't had a haircut since the year 2000. Why? Because of the contrast of my mama controlling the situation, to extent, as a kid, I'm thinking I'm gonna go to jail or get hurt badly if I don't do what my mom says. So, when she tell me cut my hair and all these things, it's like kind of gotta do it in essence. But then once I had that free will of like, do what you want, there was no turning back. It was like long hair from that day on out. But that's basically it. Just the importance of letting the kids have the free will. And as much as we want them to know about these crystals and things like that, you teach it from a perspective of like, hey, this is what I deal with. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to deal with it, but this is what mommy or daddy deals with. I like crystals. I like to meditate. I like eating healthy foods. And if you choose to, you could do the same, or you could do whatever do the same or whatever you want. It's up to you. I love you regardless. It's no good or bad. Whatever you do is your choice. Compared to like, don't you think it would be more this and that to do this, and where you framing it up for them to be persuaded by your energy behind what you're saying. So as much as you kind of, in essence, you're presenting options for them, you're presenting it in a manner where you kind of shoving them towards the choice that you want them to make. You know what I'm saying? It's like you could either be a swimmer for the swim team, or you could be a basketball player where you get to play with the basketball, and you get teammates and a cool jersey, and you know what I'm saying, and you get to shoot the hoop. Like, it's like, all right, did you really give that kid a choice in between swimming or basketball? Or were you persuading them to play basketball because that's what you want them, you want to see them do? You know what I'm saying? So again, just be aware of that. Let the kids live. Because again, that's gonna create that separation. As the kid gets older and sees that you've been trying to finesse them that whole time and persuade them, that's gonna kind of, like I say, the kid in essence is gonna kind of pull away from you as they get older, because they're gonna realize, like, all right, my parents is always just trying to persuade me to get me to do what they want me to do. No matter if they present it as a choice, it's always about what they want. You know what I'm saying? And then the kid again just grow further away from you, from realizing that they was being finessed all their life. So it's just something to that's basically it. Stop finessing the kids. Peace. Happy now. Now is the vibrative course. Not too far in the future. Not too far in the past. Right now.